You bet you. All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order for the special board meeting of the Lower Valley Water District. It's being held on Thursday, April 15th. The time is 6:30 p.m. At this time, I'd like to, since we have a quorum, if we could recite the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic
the republic for which it stands,
and
one
nation
under God,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. Okay, moving on with the regular agenda. We have item 4, discussion and possible action to approve interlocal agreement with the Isleta del Sur Pueblo for wastewater services. Mr. Flores.
Madam President, members of the board, based on the conversation that we had with Mr. Blanco this week, the recommendation is we can discuss this item, about this item, and then we'll bring it up hopefully next week on the regular board agenda. The reason for the delay is that we are still waiting for the contract from the Isleta del Sur Pueblo. I got an email today from the Pueblo, Mr. Cruz. The governors have been out of town, and so we are still waiting for their review of the contract so we can bring it back to you all for approval. It is for a project that at the Bustamante, and there are items on the agenda that are all tied together, but this is some funds that we are getting from the Pueblo to cover those improvements.
So
Okay.
they're gonna pay for all the fees? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Long will be able to discuss it a little bit more, but as far as the conversation that we had with the Pueblo, it is for improvements on Pueblo land, so they will be covering these costs.
Okay, so right now you just want to table till further notice?
Yes, sir. If we can go ahead and table this item for next week.
Okay, then I make the motion to table item 4.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Okay, moving on to item 5, discussion and possible action to approve phase 1 environmental site assessment, 11851 Behar Drive, lots and 15675 North Loop, track 1C, block 1, lot 40. Mr. Hernandez.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. This item is for phase 1 environmental services for 2 of the sites that we're trying to buy for our lift stations. One is located for the Conquistadora and Lourdes subdivision, which is located on North Loop and Gina Drive. This will pump to Mesa del Norte, to our treatment plant. And that's the first phase 1 services, phase 1 environmental, which covers the contamination on soil. So if we find any contamination, we'll go into phase 2, which will be a remedy for the soils. And the first one is for 2100. This is for, as I mentioned, this is for Conquistadora and Lourdes subdivision. The second one is for our property that we're trying to buy on Behar State for our subdivision, which is going to be pumping to Rosa Azul. And that's also for 2100, and it's also phase 1 environmental services. This proposal is from our consultant, ESCO International. So the total amount will be $4,200. So if there's any questions.
Any questions?
So the amount is 4,200?
Correct.
Okay.
For both.
All right. Okay, that's all. I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
You bet you. Did I make the motion to approve item 5 as discussed? Presented?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, been
Mr.
moved
Ron
and seconded. Thank you, Mr. Chavez. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries.
Mr. Carrasco, let the record show that I was kind of like disconnected, but I want to make sure that my vote goes in as I agree, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Ms. Moving on to item 6, discussion of possible action to approve Santiago Bustamante Avenue wastewater improvements. Mr. Hernandez.
This goes hand in hand with item number four, as Mr. Flores mentioned. This is for Isleta del Pueblo. Basically, they're gonna give us funding to repair one sewer line that is on Santiago Bustamante's Avenue. What we're gonna be doing is a piggyback system. We already have a line, so we're gonna install one above the existing one, which will be running laterals to each home. So there's gonna be around 20 connections that will involve this project. We contacted ESCO for their proposal, and this proposal will cover engineering services, which will be specs. We already have the design, so it will be only for specs, bid phase services, the construction management services, and the material testing services. As Mr. Flores mentioned, once we get into an interlocal agreement with Isleta del Pueblo, then they're gonna be give us funding for this project. So pretty much it's just for repairs on that line for Isleta del Pueblo. And we discussed this this item with the engineering committee already. So if there's any questions that you may have.
I guess my only question would be, will we need to just hold off on it as well? Since we're tabling item 4?
Yeah.
We can say pending approval of item 4.
But are you sure it would be pending, or is it all together that we should be acting on it all at the same time? I guess
Ms. Mata?
Ms. Mata would be able to tell us.
Board president and directors, I think unless there's some sort of urgency or essential time period that we're working with, I think this one should be tabled just like number 4 above.
Yeah.
Because we don't know whether or not the Pueblos will approve. So
Okay.
there may be some further negotiation needed. So it's better to table this one at this time.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Mata. Appreciate it. Okay, with that being said, I'd like to table item 6. That is in the form of a motion. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay, so been moved and seconded. For ayes, Ms. Vigil? Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chop?
Aye.
Mr. Trujillo?
Aye.
Mr. Estrada?
Aye.
And David Carrasco is an aye as well. So that motion carries as well. Thank you very much. All right, item 7, discussion and possible action to approve manhole rehabilitation with triplex liners, 27 manhole located in Lower Valley Water District. Mr. Hernandez.
Yeah, as we discussed this item with the Emergency Infrastructure Committee and the Engineering Committee as well. As you all know, we're currently doing an evaluation of our manholes throughout the whole district. There's around 4,000 manholes that we're currently evaluating, on which FXSA, which is our consultant, has given us some feedback on their ratings, pretty much going from good to worse conditions and the ones that need rehab the most. There's some manholes that have shown very critical corrosion that we have to move and repair as soon as possible, since we can avoid further damage into our system. So we've been talking with the infrastructure and rehabilitation, which is a form of rehabbing our manholes, which pretty much it's like a sock that goes into the manhole, and then they'll blow it up with steam, and then it will attach to the walls doing a rehab work. And they have a video actually that Mr. Ryan Rodriguez, can you help us please? there's a video that we're gonna show just with the rehabilitation that they do, and it's pretty well explained, so you can all get an idea of how this is gonna work. So.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yo,
Yes.
You can't hear it though, right?
We're gonna install a triplex liner in an old sewage manhole that was.
Can you hear that okay?
yes,
Yes.
Failed because it cracked and sewer gases got back to the wall and we turned loose the material. We've taken that material out. Today, we're gonna put in a liner that will last at least 50 to 100 years in this structure. I'm here at a manhole that's been sprayed with epoxy coating. Epoxy by itself is brittle. It'll just break. We'll have to take all this material out of this structure because as soon as it fractures, sewer gases gets behind the liner and re-deteriorates the structure and turns all this material loose. It's very brittle and it all has to come back out before we put in a triplex liner. All right, now that you've seen how bad the structure is with the deteriorated epoxy coating, we're going to pressure clean this structure and remove all that debris. Most of it will just land in the bottom of the hole. We cut off the sewage so nothing is running below. We will pressure clean that hole and etch that surface as much as possible and get ready to put in a triplex liner. This is an old spray-on epoxy coating that was put in this structure a few years back. It deteriorated because cracks got in it, sewer gas went back and returned loose the material. Today, we're going to install a triplex liner in this structure. It has a non-porous membrane sandwiched between structural layers of fiberglass. This one, once it's put in that structure, will last at least 50 to 100 years. I'll just hit it with a sleeve hammer, just so you can see. This stuff doesn't break, crack, peel, get pinholes in it, and will never be turned loose in that manhole again. People have wasted money and time all over the world with spray-on and plaster-on coatings. So I designed a triplex liner. This is fiberglass like you'd build a boat with. We saturate it at the job site with epoxy resin that will bond to wet or dry surfaces. We pressurize it, inject steam to cure it, and in a couple hours, we have a structure that will last for 50 to 100 years in your sewer. So quit wasting money and time and rehabilitating over and over and over. Spend your dollars once and get the job done right. We're now lowering the triplex liner inside the structure. It'll be put down into the perfect position and we'll inject steam for about an hour till it cures. And then we'll cut the openings back out and it'll be ready for immediate use in the sewer. I want you to consider something. Look how clean this job site is. You can do this in the middle of a 6-lane intersection or the golf course from what you saw earlier for 4 hours, and you're going to have a finished product that's ready to put back in service.
How'd it go?
This is a piece of triplex liner we just cut out of that structure you saw us line. We're going to throw it down on the ground. This is a full-size sledgehammer, and just for the record, I'm 6'4", 220 pounds, raised on a farm.
Wow.
I don't think you can do that with a little spray-on coating liner. We're not going to run over with a truck. Here's a big, nice four-wheel drive truck. Come on, guys. As you see, the truck didn't bother it at all. And just for the record, we hit it one more time for you. You can see the difference in this and some little epoxy spray on coating. You want to save your sewer system? Put triplex liners in your manhole that'll last 50 to 100 years, and you won't be having to rehab over and over and over. Do it right once. Well, we've just finished putting in a triplex liner. 4 hours ago, you had a terrible structure falling apart. Now you have a triplex liner in it. We appreciate you taking the time to see this video of a triplex liner. We hope that your city will pick some structures and let us do a preliminary program or a major program for your city. When we put these liners in, you're through for the rest of your life. You do it once and you're through. And that's mighty good.
As the video showed, there's a pretty clean construction. They're pretty much just gonna go into the site and do that kind of work without digging any trenches or any digging any trenches. So it's pretty clean work, and also they are offering 20 years warranty on their services. So we got together with them and we picked 27 manholes around the district, and they're giving us a pretty good price. They're giving us a pretty good price of around $1,000 per foot of manhole. So when we get the proposal, it comes up to a total of $355,662. That's with traffic control needed, with mobilization, and with repairing all 27 manholes. So I would like to recommend going with this proposal, so we can start rehabbing our 27 manholes. So
But something like this, did we not have to go out to bid on this, Rosa?
Okay, so the company is sole source through they have the license to install and produce a product in the state of Texas. The video you just saw is from the manufacturer, and Infrastructure Rehab holds a license. And I spoke to one of their executives there to confirm, and they're saying Infrastructure Rehab has the exclusive right to provide that product and installation here. So if we wanted this particular product, say another contractor, if we wanted to go competitive, we wouldn't be able to find any because they would have to go through Infrastructure Rehab. Okay. So they're sole source.
And then I guess, Mr. Grijalva, this was discussed with both Mr. Trujillo and Mr. Estrada in an engineering and probably our infrastructure committee, no?
Yes.
Yes. Ma'am, this is,
I guess Rod, Mr. Chavez, Mr. Estrada, Mr. Trujillo, and Mr. Carrasco, you guys are all in agreement with this, being that you all did meet, correct?
yes, that's correct.
Yes.
That is correct.
Okay.
What again? What was the final total for the 27?
For the 27 manholes, there's
300 and some thousand, no?
355,662.
Yeah. And so, Mr. Hernandez, we have that. I know you're so careful about money that we spend. We have all that already budgeted, and we're okay with that as well, correct?
Yes, we're okay with the money.
Okay.
Good.
No, one thing I want to add is one of the manholes has already collapsed at Rio Vista near the Sanchez school.
Yeah, yeah.
And then another one is about to collapse at the corner of Socorro Road and Passmore. So there's an urgency to getting this done.
And so once this is approved, are you saying you guys start on this like ASAP?
Yes. They actually have their trucks parked in our yard.
Oh, wow. Well, Mr. Carrasco, I guess if nobody else has any questions, I so move to approve unless someone in the committee wants to approve this item.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, it's been moved by Ms. Vigil and seconded by Mr. Trujillo.
Correct.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Thank you very much. Hold on one second. Okay, with that, we're going to item 8, which is executive session. The board of directors will retire in executive session pursuant to sections 551.071 and 551.076 Texas Government Code to discuss any of the following: 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074. Discussion regarding pending personnel matters and discussion regarding real estate update for Mesa del Norte package plant. So the time is 6:51 p.m. The board is now in executive session. Thank you.
We get a link for the executive session.
I think Jerry just sent it.
I think
We
just
received
he
it
sent it.
about 20 minutes ago.
All right.
I didn't get it, Jerry.
Look at your emails.
Yeah, let me, okay.
Mr. Trujillo, we sent it to your LVWD and your Trujillo at AT&T.
And boy, you got it. I'll get them for it.
Okay, Mr. Estrada, do you have it?
Let me check.
Ms. Mata, do you have it?
I think she already left. She might have joined it, Mr. G.
Okay.
Maybe
Okay, so I'm
on-
gonna leave to start the meeting.
I got it. I got it.
Not letting me.
Okay, I'm in.
Ryan, I just want to let you know, Ryan, we got in 30 seconds. It was awesome.
The key thing is going to see how we do right now. That'll be the record breaker.
All right, so are you gonna continue?
Well, we're waiting for somebody, right?
No? Oh, Henry. I think it's Henry.
Just let me know. Is he in?
No. Well, Ryan, so much for the record.
I got a message that he joined the meeting. Was that this one or the executive session?
He probably joined the other one.
Oh.
He's probably in executive session.
He's there all alone in a big room with nothing to do.
Raymond.
You want to go ahead and start? What do you think?
Is he on? Let me call him.
Well, I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and start. That way he can. If he does, we can get. Ryan can let him in,
Yeah.
right? Or Jerry can let him in. And I think you're right. I think he's probably going back to the executive session aspect of it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm actually trying to reach him because,
I got him here on the phone. He's on speaker.
okay,
Okay. The board is now back from executive session, and the time is 7:11 p.m. Going to item 9. There was no action taken in executive session. Going to number 9, discussion of possible action regarding real estate for Mesa del Norte package plant. I'd like to make the motion to direct the administration to proceed with negotiations on the property discussed in executive session for the Mesa del Norte package plant. That's in the form of a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? None opposed, so that motion carries. Next item is number 10 for adjournment. I make the motion to adjourn.
A second.
And it's been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, you next week, or if not sooner. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, Mr.
Good night.
Carrasco.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.
Bye, Mr. Chair. Bye.
Good night.